All right. Surprisingly, some of our Indians had asked me to speak on this video. This Air India incident where a, a flight from, I think, US to India, New York to Delhi. This guy, he went up to a lady, 70-year-old lady in business class. Okay, from economy class, he goes to business class. Then he unzips, shows his appendage, and urinates on this lady. Now, I do not know if the guy was drunk, if he had some mental issues, whatever. And this lady is horrified, and then it seems that, I don't know, some passengers or whatever, they sent him back. And this lady, horrified, disgusted as she was, the Air India passengers, Air India crew, they gave her some sanitizers, took her to the toilet, gave her, they had in-flight some pajamas or, temporary kind of clothing. And to the shock and dismay of this lady, who was a business class passenger, the cabin crew asked her to sit at the same seat. Okay, it's the same seat where this guy had urinated. Obviously his urine is there. They said, no, we'll clean it with sanitizer. Even though there were some empty seats in the first class. Now, common sense should state that you should upgrade your passenger because they've been through something traumatic, and at least take care of them. But nothing of this sort was done. And that is not the most shocking thing. The shocking thing is when the plane landed, this passenger who urinated walked out through immigration, walked out to the airport, walked out through police. Nothing was done to him. Well, this poor lady was just left to bear her shock and misery of this unforgivable incident. Okay. And because this lady went through such a traumatic thing, she wrote to, I think, the Tatas. She wrote up to the higher management. Nothing was done. And finally, they did. And what did they do? They gave this guy a ban of 30 days. When I read that, I was like, if you travel once every 2 years, who the hell cares? You give them a ban of 1 year, as if there's no other airline left. What does he have to lose? And even more surprising thing is, they didn't name him, they didn't shame him, they didn't give him a police case. Nothing was done. Now, before I even give you my thoughts with regards to this incident, you must have seen my previous 2 videos where I spoke about, one is how a cabin crew was humiliated by a passenger who said that, you're my servant. And then she responded, I'm not your servant, Indiegogo. And then the Thai Airways smile, or where the Indians are slapping each other. Now in the Indiegogo, the passenger made one of the cabin crew members cry. So this lady came and stood up for her colleague, and then they started to argue and shout. And this Thai Airways, this is what people say, there's no evidence that this guy was asked to put his seat properly up. People when they sit down, they relax. He refused, and the cabin crew, when you're taking off, say, please keep it properly. He still refused. Then the passengers, one by one, they came, and finally they took law in their own hands and beat the hell out of him. Beat means slapped him. And when the plane landed, once again, no action, nothing was done. Now I've commented on these incidents. I've posted a video. Among the many comments that were there were some which I expected to call me out on why I'm attacking Indians. Okay, and then one comment was there where one guy said, you motherfucker, he's trying to thinks he's cool, is some this and that, whatever. I don't know whether he's expecting me to feel something or... Fine, that is how your upbringing has been. That is how your you know, that's the maximum amount of intelligence you can show. So, anyway, now, what is the problem? Let's understand. What exactly is it? The problem with the airline? Is it the problem with the passengers? Is it an Indian thing? Here are the key questions that we need to ask ourselves. Now, there are various schools of thoughts. Various schools. One can say, yeah, because now all of a sudden Indians have purchasing power. They have never been outside India in their lives. So they take their Indian mentality, Indian culture, Indian behavior outside. Now by Indian culture, I don't mean Indian culture is like this. Their culture. Okay. That can be one. And which is a strong possibility. It's a reality. Okay. The second one can be maybe the airlines, they don't know how to behave themselves. Many of the Indian airlines or airlines in general, they have cheap cabin crew who get paid cheap salaries, or maybe they don't know how to behave. Okay? Training is not provided. Subsequently, the opposite side is these poor cabin crew are made to face such stupid behavior. And I have cabin crew friends who tell me Indians are one of the worst behaved passengers. They ask for free booze, free food, self-entitlement. They pay small amount they think they're paying that they owe them. Then sexist comments, groping them, talking nonsense, misbehaving, not knowing how to even use the toilets. And you know, we always have this funny statement. Our Indians, they smell like a sweaty ball sack. You know, they stink. Okay, so that's the side that supports the argument for the cabin crew. Then the last can be said about the management. The management doesn't have Air India or whatever airline. They don't have strict rules in place. You do this is what is going to happen. You do that is going to happen. Or last if not the least, we can add the fifth point is, in India itself, there are no rules that if on the airline you misbehave in a way, this is a civil or criminal offense. So when people know, nothing can be done about it. No one can be touched. You can beat someone, you can hit someone, you can abuse someone. Nothing will happen to you. So they take law into their own hands. If there are no rules, people will become a lawless land. Have a look at what happens online. People create anonymous accounts. They'll abuse your mother, father, brother, sister, daughter. You know, nothing will happen. Okay. This is the same phenomenon which I feel is happening in the airlines or airplane. And now it's gaining popularity because it's becoming a trend, because they've realized I can do whatever I want in an aircraft. There's no repercussions. And especially if the aircraft is landing in India. If they are traveling abroad, then you will get jacked. Because the laws of the other country apply. You try doing it when you're traveling any other country, they might even send you back or jail you. But when you're traveling to India, nothing happens. So people are their worst behaved when they are traveling to India, especially our Indians. Now, I know what the argument will be. 1 out of 1 billion misbehaved. 1. Yeah, the one which was reported. How many Indians misbehave which are being reported? That's my question. How many? On a day-to-day basis, how many Indians misbehave? On a day-to-day basis, how many Indians use profanity on your mother, father, brother, sister, family? On a day-to-day basis, how many Indians take law into their own hands? On a day-to-day basis, how many Indians, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to behave. On a day-to-day basis, how many Indians are being reported for body odor or lack of poor hygiene or unprofessionalism? Just one was reported. So you found this one. That doesn't mean the rest of India is all well behaved. And if we use the law of averages, even if in a population of 1 billion, if you take the 80-20 rule, let's assume 20%, let's assume 20% are like one of the worst behaved in the world. I'm giving a small figure. Out of 1 billion or 1.4 billion, whatever, that's nearly 200 million, right? Correct me if my maths is wrong. That's equivalent to the population of US, which is 300 million. But we know for a fact, in the 80-20 principle, 20% are educated, well-behaved, 80% are not. And among the 80%, okay, the ones who can travel, let's say 40% of them, 400 million. See, the unfortunate thing is, it takes just one. It takes just one to create not just problems, to destroy reputation, to harm, hurt others. Like for example, September 11, 3,000 people died. How many did it take to kill? 11, right? You need one serial killer to harm multiple families. And the family is not one person, family is many people. You have one suicide bomber that kills millions. You know, the problem with our defensive, ignorant Indians is they'll justify because of their sense of nationalistic pride. Don't you talk shit about, oh, Indians, we have Tatas, we have Birlas, we have millions. Yeah, but you're not a millionaire, you're not a billionaire. And this guy you urinated, he is neither a billionaire, millionaire, who travel in economy class. How many billionaires travel economy class? Ignoring a problem, not talking about it, not discussing, not enforcing any rule, makes the problem even worse, right? See, a simple one. I'd put a video before why Indians are banned in certain clubs, bars, pubs, poor hygiene, being stingy. One Coca-Cola, 5-6 people are sharing the cola, or they'll order one beer and sit for the whole night, or they'll gawk at other females, or they'll not know how to behave, not know how to dress, not spend money. From where this reputation has come, being stingy. In fact, we have seen videos where Indian tourists in Bali, they took all the toiletries. It just takes one to spoil the name, right? And this is not limited to our Indians. See, even my family, my mother and father, in the early days, when she used to go to a restaurant, which she never did when she was in India, and they went to Dubai, they'd go to eat in the small restaurant. There are tissue boxes there. She would take all the tissues from the box, because she never experienced all this. How much does tissue cost? And I was a small boy. I used to see this. Oh, okay, tissues. So you take the tissues for free. The fork and knife, which was plastic, she would take it for free. In fact, so many of us do this when we travel. We take jam, we take bread, we take the freebies. Why? Because we give cake and all that. We give to others. The juice. Because we believe it should not be wasted, which is commendable. But then stealing, that is not wrong. I would say, see, it comes from our upbringing, it comes from our experiences, it comes from our background. It's unfortunate that, see, our population is 1 billion, and today many of them are being global citizens. Yes, you can say that it's one in and feel good about it, but remember, the damage is done. The reputation is affected. It's Indian. And as long as you're associated with it directly or indirectly, you will face the music. You can just say one person, but for the rest of the world, that one person represents you, your culture, your tradition, your background, right? You can fight with the whole world and say, hey, just one. It's not going to help. Just as when you have a Muslim takes the name of Allah and does some harm, or a Hindu who puts a saffron thing and breaks a statue or a house of some other religion, or just as a Christian who, in the name of whichever god or whatever, he does not allow a girl who got raped to have an abortion or interferes or is racist. It can be a white, it can be a black, it can be anything. It takes one to destroy the reputation of many. In your family, if one person was involved in, let's say, something got to do with pedophilia or something really sick, your entire family's reputation is destroyed. So what are you going to say? It was him, not me? Who are you trying to convince? They'll say it was your entire family's upbringing. There's a accountability factor, right? Like I told you, I see all parties at fault here. First is the Indian system. There is no law to punish people who break the law. Number one is the Indian system. The solution is they have to make it so strict. If you break the law in international air, you're named, shamed, and there should be a criminal prosecution along with money and jail time. That will first reduce it by 50, 60, 70, 80% because they'll be afraid. You take the law in your hands, you will pay the price. Second, airlines have to be empowered to disembark passengers if they behave this way. And if they do something like this, they have to be handcuffed and tied for the rest of the flight. And the minute they land, to hand over to the authorities. Number three, passengers have to be given a strict code of conduct where they have to be made aware. Maybe told, warning, you do this is what is going to happen. You still want to take the law in your hands. Okay. And last but not the least, I think a passenger who does break the law, forget airline, he should be banned from all airlines and for a lengthy duration of time and named and shamed publicly. Then after that, with the media houses involved, then this crime rate will fall down. And yes, for all it's worth, cabin crew should be maybe empowered or paid a little bit more, and yes, training should be given. Because our Indian passengers, I'll tell you the whole lot. Some of them think they are riding a BST bus or a train, or they don't know how to behave. And as long as this continues, Indians and Indian reputation is never going to get better. That is why when they say made in Japan, wow. American dream, wow. Mediterranean diet, Indian tourist. You know what I mean, right? Indian mentality, Indian stinginess. Even Russell Peters jokes about it. Indian. Anyway, you let me know. What do you think? Think I'm right? You think I'm wrong? Love to hear your thoughts. All right. Guys, take care. This is me signing off. Ciao.